Elias Monroe was a quiet man, the kind of guy you'd pass on the street without a second glance. But there was a depth to him that didn't just fade into the backdrop of Montgomery, Alabama. At 82 years old, he had spent more than 4 decades as a janitor and plumber, living a humble, simple life. But on one crisp autumn day, everything was about to change. Because today wasn't just any day. It was the funeral of General Marcus Caldwell, his best friend since childhood. And for Elias, it was a day filled with both sorrow and a deep sense of duty. Elias and Marcus had grown up together, side by side in a neighborhood that seemed determined to keep dreams in check. They played stickball in the streets, escaped into battles of imagination, and grappled with the growing pains of adolescence. When the call to serve came in the 60s, they answered, both heading off to Vietnam. That was where everything changed for Elias. During a fierce firefight, he pulled Marcus to safety, saving his life, but leaving himself exposed. That act of courage had shaped Marcus's life, allowing him to rise as a respected four-star general. But for Elias, he remained in the shadows, a hero erased by time. So here he was, dressed in his best, an old suit that felt a little tight, but was worn with pride, and a letter from Marcus's widow, Rebecca, clutched tightly in his hand. He walked through the cemetery gates, hoping to honor his friend and find some solace amid the grief. But as he approached, a security sergeant stepped in his path, blocking his way. With a cold, "Sorry, sir, this area is restricted." Elias felt a pang in his chest. "I have a letter from Mrs. Caldwell," he offered, trying to keep his voice steady. But the sergeant shook his head, dismissing him like he was just something to sweep aside. With each passing second, the crowd around him, dignitaries and somber faces, brushed past without so much as a glance. It was like he was invisible, a ghost among the living. In that moment, he felt more than just rejection. He felt the years of being underestimated and overlooked wash over him, curling tightly around his heart. Just as he was about to step back, just as the overwhelming weight of defeat was starting to shadow his spirit, he felt a presence beside him. It was General Raymond Callister, an imposing figure known across the military landscape. "Excuse me," Callister said, his voice steady as granite. The sergeant looked up, surprised. "I need to speak with you." Elias didn't dare breathe. This was a man with authority, a four-star general in crisp uniform, and yet he was here right in front of him like a beacon, cutting through the fog of hopelessness. Callister turned to Elias, his demeanor shifting as he recognized the depth of what was unfolding. "Sir, you need to come with me. Your place is with family." And just like that, everything changed. Callister put his arm around Elias, leading him through the throngs of people. There were murmurs, raised eyebrows, curious glances, but Elias kept his gaze forward, a mix of disbelief and gratitude swirling inside him. As they approached the front, Callister stopped. Everything halted, the funeral proceedings bringing together all those gathered. "Everyone," Callister announced, his thick voice carrying the weight of respect. "This is Elias Monroe. He saved General Caldwell's life in Vietnam, and today we honor him for that." The crowd fell silent. Eyes turned toward Elias, who was fighting back a wave of emotions surging in his chest. He felt like he was being thrust into the spotlight, not for his own glory, but as a tribute to a friendship that had meant everything to him. As Callister saluted him, Elias felt a wave of recognition wash over him. Community, family, dignity, things he had never expected to reclaim at this stage of his life. As Elias settled into his seat next to Rebecca, emotions bled into the air around them. He looked over at her and they exchanged a glance filled with mutual understanding. They had both loved Marcus fiercely, but today was about more than just their loss. It was a moment to connect, to celebrate, and to remember. Then Marcus's son stepped forward, voice shaking, yet resolute, and acknowledged Elias's past heroism. "You're not just a friend to our family," the young man said, eyes glistening. "You're a part of who we are, man." Now the moment of tribute arrived, a delicate act that felt monumental. Elias walked to the casket bearing Marcus's flag-draped body and paused, feeling the years converge on him. He reached in his pocket and withdrew Marcus's dog tags, placing them gently on the casket. His hand trembled slightly as he raised it in a salute, an imperfect but sincere gesture. Silence enveloped them like a warm blanket, and it was broken only by a collective breath as General Callister raised his hand in salute too. In an awe-inspiring display, all military personnel followed suit, a wave of respect rippling through the assembly, honoring not just Marcus, but also his brother-in-arms, the unsung hero, standing before them. That moment, encapsulated in shared acknowledgement, shifted something inside Elias. He'd lived a life shrouded in shadows and humiliation, but here right now, he was embraced both in grief and celebration. The day drew to a close, and as Elias prepared to leave, he felt a warmth bloom in his chest, reminding him of a time when he was known and valued. But even more than that, it reaffirmed the vital truth that heroes wear many faces, some just need to be seen. With tears misting his eyes, Elias knew he'd walk back into the quiet of his life, humbled, but changed. It wasn't about how many views the story would get or how many likes a moment generated. It was about recognition, seeing people for who they truly were, and cherishing their contributions. So here's where I invite you, dear viewers, to reflect on your experiences. Have you seen the overlooked and unrecognized in your own lives? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about justice, honor, and the hidden heroes among us. Because sometimes it takes a moment like Elias's to remind us that every act of kindness matters. And maybe, just maybe, it's time we celebrate the unsung warriors in our world.